From the global headquarters of Johnson Taylor in beautiful New Jersey, it's Marginally Better. Here's your host, Joe Taylor Jr.
On the show this week, we're diving into the accessibility revolution that's not just changing lives, but creating massive business opportunities. There's a huge market for accessible web services, and yet 94% of Fortune 500 companies are completely ignoring it. Plus, New York just did something no state has ever done. Their new Chief Customer Experience Officer is treating the Empire State a little more like a startup, and the results are exciting. And we'll explore the great experience divide, where brilliant user interfaces meet catastrophic customer service. That's all coming up after the break on Marginally Better. Welcome to Marginally Better, a show about business, innovation, and the American economy. I'm Joe Taylor Jr. Picture this. There's a market worth as much as $13 trillion just hiding, and yet 94% of the world's biggest companies are completely ignoring it. We're not talking about cryptocurrency. We're not talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about people with disabilities who control nearly $2 trillion in annual spending power. Now, the numbers vary depending on how disability is defined, but they're massive regardless. The World Health Organization estimates that 1.3 billion people around the world experience significant disability. In some places, that's as much as 16% of the population. The Return on Disability report uses an even broader definition, and that includes temporary and situational disabilities. They get to a number that's closer to 1.85 billion people. And when you include their families, friends, and colleagues who influence spending decisions, that market grows even higher. And that's where we get $13 trillion. Now, that's a possibly completely made up number, but it really just shows you that if you think about it, this is a market that's potentially larger than the entire economies of China and the European Union combined. So let's meet Margaret, a 78-year-old grandmother with declining vision trying to order groceries online. The text is tiny, the contrast is poor, the navigation is a maze, and after 45 minutes of struggle, she gives up, frustrated, empty-handed. I want you to imagine Sarah, who faces the same visual challenges but encounters a website with adjustable text, high-contrast colors, and screen reader compatibility. She can complete her order in under 5 minutes. This isn't just about accessibility, it's about universal design that helps everyone. The same features that help Margaret can also help a parent shopping while holding a crying baby, someone with a migraine who's just trying to read, or anyone using a typical smartphone in bright sunlight. Target learned this lesson the hard way. In 2006, they faced a major lawsuit for website inaccessibility. The cost? Millions of dollars in legal fees, plus a complete e-commerce platform overhaul. But here's the twist. The accessibility improvements didn't just help disabled users. They enhanced the shopping experience for everyone, leading to increased sales and customer satisfaction. Under James Green's leadership at Chase Bank, the company has embraced a philosophy that accessibility is not just about meeting compliance standards, but about creating seamless and efficient experiences for everyone. That's a phrase that they used in their award-winning approach to inclusive banking design. Baymard Institute has put out some research recently. It reveals that 94% of top grossing e-commerce sites fail basic accessibility tests. We're talking about billion-dollar companies with massive budgets, And 82% of these websites have image issues. 73% have link problems. 58% have problems with their form fields. These are not small startups that are just struggling to ship a website. These are giants. These are the places that we bank with and shop with daily. Now, if you're in this situation and trying to think about your own business or thinking about somebody that you're working with, here is something to think about to close the deal. Every dollar invested in accessibility returns $100 in value over time. Companies that embrace accessibility aren't just doing good, they're accessing untapped markets. They're avoiding costly lawsuits, and they're creating better experiences for all of their customers. The question isn't whether you can afford to make your business accessible, it's whether you can afford not to. After the break, what happens when your state government acts like a startup? It's Marginally Better. If you're a business owner, I need to tell you something that might sting. Your beautiful website is probably costing you thousands in lost revenue. The Nielsen-Norman Group found that 76% of professional websites, sites with million-dollar budgets, perform mediocre to poor on conversion. And if you built your site on Squarespace, Wix, or GoDaddy, your conversion rate is probably half of what it should be. Research shows the average business website can improve conversions by 35% or more just by fixing a few basic problems. I'm launching a new podcast called Website Reality Check. 10 episodes, each one walking you through research-backed fixes you can implement yourself, even on DIY platforms. Get free access to the first episode at websiterealitycheck.com. Stop leaving money on the table with websites that look great but don't convert. That's websiterealitycheck.com. It's Marginally Better. I'm Joe Taylor Jr. In October 2023, something unprecedented happened in American government. New York appointed the nation's first governor-level Chief Customer Experience Officer. Tanya Webster, with more than 20 years transforming customer experiences at Blue Cross Blue Shield, Comcast, and Citigroup, faced her biggest challenge, fixing how 20 million New Yorkers interact with their state government. Governor Kathy Hochul's vision was bold, as she stated in the October 2023 press release announcing the appointment. Her quote, "Obtaining a service or benefit from a government agency does not have to be challenging, painful, or frustrating." But Webster discovered a familiar corporate nightmare playing out in the background. Citizens weren't dealing with New York State. They were ping-ponging between more than 50 separate agencies, each with different systems, processes, and customer service standards. Getting a driver's license, applying for health benefits, filing taxes, these all feel like dealing with completely different companies that happen to share a name. How customers interact with us shouldn't be agency by agency, Webster explained in a November 2023 interview with CX Dive. And her quote, "But really based on you as a customer, what you need." Webster built her approach on 5 pillars, treating government like a unified company rather than a collection of departments. First, removing unnecessary steps that waste citizens' time, because time is money, especially for working families who can't afford to take days off for government appointments. Second, citizens expect Amazon-level experiences from government. Webster's team integrated AI, chat capabilities, and auto-enrollment systems across agencies. And third, ensuring services work regardless of location, income, or disability status. Digital equity as a government responsibility. And the results speak for themselves. The state direct file tax pilot achieved a 95% satisfaction rate. That's better than most private companies. the Division of Minority and Woman-Owned Business Development eliminated a years-long application backlog. Thousands more New Yorkers gained access to DMV and health department services through new technologies. But the most dramatic proof came from unexpected places. Remember United Airlines' huge stock drop after the whole United Breaks Guitars incident many years ago? That's the power of customer experience in the social media age. It's become the textbook example. Webster understood that every frustrated citizen could become a viral story. But more importantly, every satisfied citizen becomes an advocate for effective government. Public and private chief customer experience roles are fundamentally similar because they have a common thread: customers. That's a quote from Webster's interview with CX Dive in 2023. It also continues, but public roles bring unique considerations. Leaders have to contend with outdated legislation, legacy technology systems, and complex data sets and siloed processes. The irony? Government is often held to higher standards than private companies, but with fewer resources and more constraints. Webster's bridging that gap by applying corporate discipline to public service. Other states are watching. Nations are studying New York's model. Webster isn't just transforming how New York works, she's pioneering a new approach to government that puts citizens first. The question isn't whether other states will follow, but how quickly they can catch up. After the break, the great experience divide when UX meets CX and everything goes wrong. You know what drives me crazy? Beautiful websites that don't actually work. I'm Joe Taylor Jr. I see this all the time in my work at our user experience agency, Johns & Taylor. Here's what I've learned after more than 20 years of building websites. Most organizations approach this backwards. They jump straight into pretty mock-ups or use DIY site builders without understanding what their site actually needs to accomplish. That's why my team and I start with strategy, not just aesthetics. We've cracked the code on building websites that are both beautiful and functional. And right now, we're offering complimentary website and user experience assessments for business podcast listeners. No sales pitch, just honest feedback about what's working on your site and what isn't. If you're tired of a website that looks good but doesn't deliver results, visit MakeTheWebsiteWorkForMe.com. Discover what your website could really accomplish. MakeTheWebsiteWorkForMe.com. It's Marginally Better. I'm Joe Taylor Jr. Here's a distinction. User experience, UX, is about making individual interactions work, like a website form or a mobile application. Customer experience, CX, is about the entire relationship over time. Think of UX as designing a great restaurant meal. CX is ensuring customers want to come back, recommend you to friends, and become loyal advocates. The Nielsen-Norman Group puts it simply: CX is UX over long periods of time. Barbara's Amazon order shows how even tech giants can fail at CX. She was mysteriously charged $7,999 in shipping for a simple toilet paper order. Amazon's platform worked perfectly. She could browse, order, and track her purchase. Very good UX. But when she contacted customer service about the astronomical shipping charge, representatives repeatedly told her it was a third-party seller problem and they refused to take responsibility. For months, Amazon's customer service reps passed her between departments, each claiming they couldn't help. The company's technical systems functioned flawlessly, but their customer experience philosophy, involving hiding behind technicalities, avoiding accountability, and leaning on whatever data a third-party seller had entered into the platform, nearly destroyed that customer relationship. Only after Barbara contacted her local TV station and the story went viral did Amazon finally act. 2.5 months later, she was reimbursed. Their platform had worked perfectly, very good UX in the moment, but their CX broke down. Let's shift gears and take to the skies. Hassan Syed's 2013 experience with British Airways perfectly illustrates how good UX can coexist with terrible CX. The airline's website worked perfectly. Again, he could book flights, he could check in online, he could track his journey. But when BA lost his father's luggage, the CX became his nightmare. After hours of unproductive customer service calls, Saeed took an unusual step. He paid to promote a tweet that simply read, "Don't fly British Airways. Their customer service is horrendous." That promoted tweet reached 76,000 users. British Airways took 8 hours to respond. Now that's plenty of time for the complaint to go viral and generate even more widespread negative publicity. The lesson: BA's digital infrastructure worked fine, but their customer experience, which at the time involved slow response times, poor luggage handling, inadequate service recovery, turned what would have been a routine travel problem into a public relations disaster. Here's one more example. Virgin Media's 2013 billing disaster. It shows how automated systems can create human nightmares. When a customer passed away, his bank properly notified Virgin Media that the account holder was deceased and direct debit payments would stop. But Virgin's automated billing system was only able to record payment failed. And it started adding a £10 late payment charge to that deceased customer's final bill. The bill notation read, "Direct debit denied, payer deceased," followed by the late fee. The customer's son-in-law, Jim Boyden, posted the bill on Facebook with this message, quote, "Dear Virgin Media, I'm really sorry for my father-in-law not paying his bill last month, but what with him being dead and all, it's probably slipped his mind." The post went viral, shared over 90,000 times. Virgin Media's response was swift and comprehensive. They immediately closed the account. They removed all charges. Most importantly, they redesigned their automated billing system so it could flag deceased customer notifications and route them to a specialized team. So here's the lesson for businesses. Automation and systems, they can save money, but they need human oversight, especially for sensitive situations. Virgin learned to build more empathy into the design of their systems. When certain keywords appear, humans have to take over. Your automated processes should have similar safeguards. Now here's the success formula that I talk about with our clients at Johnson Taylor. Companies that get both UX and CX right understand that they're designing for the entire journey, not just individual touch points. They know that in our connected world, every bad experience can become a viral story. But more importantly, every great experience creates advocates who drive business growth. The lesson? You can have the most beautiful, functional interface in the world, but if your customer experience is broken, you are one viral moment away from disaster. The companies that thrive aren't just making things that work, they're making customers feel valued throughout their entire relationship. In the age of social media, customer experience isn't just a department, it's your brand's survival strategy. From the $13 trillion accessibility market to New York's government revolution to the viral failures that cost companies millions, one truth emerges. Customer experience isn't optional anymore. It's the difference between growth and irrelevance, between loyal advocates and viral disasters. The companies and organizations that win aren't just thinking marginally better, they're thinking fundamentally different. They're designing for everyone, organizing around citizens rather than systems, and understanding that every interaction is an opportunity to build trust or to destroy it. The question isn't whether you can afford to prioritize experience, it's whether you can afford not to. Thanks for listening to Marginally Better. If you like what you heard, please help us out. Leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It will help us spread the word about the show to people just like you who care deeply about great customer experiences. If you want to get behind-the-scenes notes from me and the rest of the team, and you want to get the show notes that include all of the citations for all of the studies and data that we pointed at during this episode, go to marginallybettershow.com or follow the link in our show notes. Marginally Better is a Calufrax radio production. Our producer is Nicole Hubbard with research by Connie Evans. I'm Joe Taylor Jr.
Calufrax, mean little planet.